What if you could take the sun and the wind and generate enough power to put in this car to make it go down the road? Well, that is what is happening here at the National Renewable Energy Labs. They make hydrogen with solar and wind power, and then down the road it goes completely clean.
These operate when the wind blows, and the wind is variable. Therefore, wind energy is inherently variable, and then we'll never get past that.
So what are you trying to do?
So hydrogen is one way to store the electricity from wind in the form of gaseous hydrogen. And what's nice about once you have the hydrogen, you have an option. You can turn it back into electricity, but you can also use hydrogen as a vehicle fuel. So hydrogen gives you that flexibility. It's essentially electric car, because a fuel cell is basically a battery, and as long as you're feeding that battery hydrogen, you get out electricity, and that electricity drives an electric motor to move your vehicle. But the ultimate end game really is renewable energy, making hydrogen, compressing it, storing it in vehicles, and out the tailpipe you get water vapor.
Okay, I'm driving into the future. I don't feel like much of a hot rodder.
You're driving past the wind turbines that produce the electricity to make the hydrogen that's driving you down the road.
Now that's what's amazing about this is you generate the hydrogen, which is clean, from the wind, which is absolutely clean.
You're driving on renewable energy,
yeah,
which is a neat concept, and it really opens up the door for anyone to have this sort of energy now.
I feel like we're at the front end of the revolution here.
I think it certainly could be. It takes time to make these transitions, but I think a fuel cell car, with its environmental track record of only producing water vapor out the tailpipe of this vehicle, could be the ultimate end game.
You gotta love these solar panels. There are about 4 acres of them here, but all the solar farms and wind farms in the world won't do us much good unless the electric grid can connect the power that's generated here to the homes and factories and plants around the country that need it. That's why we need to spend a lot of money and a lot of time fixing our electric grid. We've gotten at Planet Forward a lot of people who've talked about the grid and making the grid better and making the grid smarter. Specifically, what do we need to build or invest in to do that?
We've got a lot of technology we can deploy now, big numbers we could get out there without significant changes. But if we really want to have the kind of impact, like 20%, 30%, 50% of our electricity from renewables, we have to think about some system upgrades. And probably the most immediate one really to access, because many of the best resources in the country, especially in terms of wind and solar and geothermal, are in areas that are distant from the load centers. And so we need to...
You're out in the desert where the sun is shining.
Right, or in the plains where the wind blows a lot. And so we need to get that power to load centers. We will need to build out the transmission system better, get it to where the resources are, and allow
power
us
lines,
to
transformers.
High voltage transmission lines specifically. One of the impacts of incorporating a lot of different kind of technologies, all the way from the utility all the way down to the home, is the potential for the system to be quite a bit more sophisticated in terms of how electricity is getting used, how it's getting produced, and the communication between all of the participants in the system. It's very likely to be, I think, in 20 or 30 years, a very different system than we have today.